Hail and well met, friends. This is Ruan ap Don, Pendraig of Y Dôníaíd, member of the Cylgh An Carow Gwyn, and oath-taken fairy friend. Welcome to another Fayerie Fridays with Ruan. Um, I'm still not prepared for any fancy episodes like I used to do. We finally finished moving all of our stuff from Birdview, Washington. Unfortunately, our trailer was completely destroyed with the storms that we had a couple months ago. And so we were forced to abandon ship, so to speak, and return to Mount Vernon, Washington. I also apologize for the quality of the video and most like my camera and stuff, because if I turn on the light, it looks weird and I'm not properly attired. I don't have a really good setup um, at the moment. I'm hoping that over time I'll be able to situate something better. As everyone knows, I do, work during the week. And so for me, Fayerie Fridays is my time to branch out in the community and, just build fellowship with other witchy practitioners, those who are interested, those who are new. I've been a practicing witch for quite some time now, over 30 years. I was introduced to the craft at a very young age and studied intensely, and of course received a lot of persecution by my family, and I fought hardcore for my freedom of religion. And so me doing these videos is my way of reaching out, building community, learning new things, because as a perpetual student, um, we should never stop learning something new. And so this setup is only a little bit crude for now. I'm hoping to have things set up a lot better. And in the next couple weeks, hopefully I'll have, we'll do an elementum together. I'll have access to more time to go through various fairy folk tales like Tamlin, Thomas the Rhymer, Mabinogi, because I am a Welsh witch. I've at least focused on the Brythonic mysteries for my entire career in witchcraft. Um, and so I want to just kind of, get my own opinions out there and meet other people and learn new things. And so um, since my life has finally started to settle down in the mundane sphere, I've noticed that I've got more energy to come back and do my videos, work on my books, well, articles and stuff. Maybe even take on people who are interested in learning in a more one-on-one type basis. I've been asked, and I don't know. Maybe I'm ready. I'm unsure, but I am very interested in, at least in the Mount Vernon, Skagit County area of Washington. I've been thinking about possibly getting more vocal in the community, particularly to offer my tradition to the world. Well, tradition, what is a tradition? What is a path? I can only really just kind of pass on what I know, and if you vibe and you're in the area, maybe we can set up um, time to get together to um, traverse the mysteries together. So that's possibly coming up. I might start running classes. It all depends on energy, time, space, and desire. So that's possibly coming up. Let's see. Oh, yes. I mentioned last week that I had purchased that territorial. Of course, it's not going to show uh, color of the package that it came in, but I bought from Raven and Rogue.com. I bought their tarot deck that for people who are just learning or people who aren't very into the symbology of tarot, or you know, they actually have nothing but words, no pictures to distract one from the meaning of the cards. Though I do suggest, doing a process that I learned in Donald Michael Craig's Modern Magic is descanning, taking each individual tarot card, meditating upon it, visualizing in your head, like you're scanning the symbols of the cards. But these just have the words, and I really don't like that background. But anyways, I've used them a couple times, and um, they're pretty nice. They're pretty nice. I've done a couple tarot readings for clients, and it's made things smoother in the conveyance of information because people know I'm not ableist. I am a neurodivergent and I have memory issues and stuff. And so, like I've always said at the beginning of my stuff, sorry, my cats are deciding to play roughly. But this tarot deck has been wonderful, and I do highly recommend if you're interested in tarot, if you're interested in such things and want to get out there and be more professional, and you're neurodivergent, I highly recommend this deck, and that is tarot, tarot torial, the ultimate tarot training deck, and it's from ravenandrogue.com. Give it a shot. I Like I said, I really like it. In fact, I am going to pull a card because I really have nothing planned for this episode. Just kind of like get together, talk, um, ask questions. But I just pulled the Magician reversed, and what it has the planetary correspondence to the card and the elemental correspondence to the card, which is the planet Mercury. So it's a mercurial imagery, um, air, intellect. As a magician, usually is pretty keen. Um, But with it being reversed, it says, such things as illusion, deception, lack of energy, confusion, ill intent. And it's kind of interesting that the magician reversed is the one that pops up at this time. I've noticed that since Mercury has gone direct again, that it seems to be opposite for me. Um, I have more issues with communication and social interactions when Mercury is direct, and I find it very weird that it seems to be that way. But I'm not going to comment on such drama because I have no ill intent for the individuals that were involved if you've read my Facebook page. But pulling the Magician reversed says, and I quote, "Make some changes. Someone may not have your best interests at heart. Or perhaps your subconscious is self-sabotaging. Don't make sudden, reckless decisions. Beware of self-doubt and manipulation. And I think we are seeing a lot of that stuff really start to occur on like the world stage. And I know I my videos, I tend to sit there and I draw upon um, actual world events, and I think it's very pertinent for any individual living in the scene realm to be very cognizant about what is going on. You know, not fear mongering and losing sight of individual lives, but we're seeing a lot of people getting violent. And it is something that I did mention in previous videos that I've done, my prophetic visions growing up that, you know, seem to align with what is going on in the world. And I'm just, even after all this time, I'm saddened that so much of what I've spoken before is coming to pass, I guess. I don't claim to be, anyone important. I'm just another individual upon this planet. You know, I just wish people would just be more understanding that there's a class of like druids, the ovates, the Vedic interseers, in the sense of being able to bridge the hedge, and witches can do that, and they can pass messages. We use such things, as like Ouija boards and other divinatory tools and stuff. And we all have access to um, visions if that seems to be our calling. And I've had that happen, and I've witnessed other people having such things happen, and I wish people would, maybe just pay more attention. Um, but I also want to spend some time pulling out one of my favorite books by Robin Ars Robin Artisan. I hate that the screen won't show my stuff, but this is called Letters from the Devil's Forest. It's very precious to me, not to put people on pedestals or anything, but it's really opened up a lot of changes in me in the last 5 years. And I wanted to do a small bibliomancy. Um, for those who don't know, bibliomancy is taking the written word and divining answers to questions or messages through the random opening of pages and reading the sentence that your finger comes upon. And that's always been like one of my favorite divinatory exercises because it's simple. If you've got a strong connection to unseen allies, um, sometimes it makes it really easier to have those direct conversations. I mean, it's almost like a paranormal spirit box. It pulls out the energetic phrases that are fairy allies, the mighty dead, the gods that we interact ourselves with, our allies can convey messages. And I highly recommend people, you know, give it a shot. You'd be surprised at what can come forth. And so let's go ahead and do a few practices. If there is an ally or entity here, please guide my words and hands. I don't want to live in a world or in a culture where mystics have to be obsessed with love, as though love were some kind of novelty or a mystical discovery. Just so, I don't want to live in a world where the kind of love we feel for our friends, family, and lovers isn't enough, and only love for God or love for the whole cosmos can be seen as profound, or if universal love is automatically seen as superior to any other. Sorry, quantity is never automatically better than quality. And I do talk about love very often. I'm polyamorous. Um, I've always been, I even before I understood the word, and you know, I've attempted to live the poly lifestyle a couple times, and they honestly all ended up in disaster. Um, I'm currently in a monogamous committed relationship, and contrary to what people think, I'm not stifled, and I wish people would understand that you can identify as polyamorous, um, and be in a committed monogamous relationship. So I wish, that's just one thing I wish people would understand, and that a lot of the quotes and stuff that I share is applicable to any relationship. Um, because as a fairy traditionalist, a member of the Cylgh An Carow Gwyn, I'm a neo-animist, and so all my magic, all my spell work, and all of that is very tied into neo-animistic ideas. And so, and it's about relationship with them, building allies, showing the unseen who and what you are, and what you would like to become as you develop and experience things here in the scene world. And so I was happy enough that today I spent some time outside. Thank gosh, my Sunday, because today is my Sunday, that I can be able to be outside. My child and I, Autumn, went outside to just enjoy the sun, because it's been a long, long time since the storms that we've been able to have weather to go out as a family, and it's very important. Any family tradition should have family first and foremost. Um, Now, mind you, I don't do what my father did to me. I merely answer questions. I'm not formally indoctrinating her. Um, I just answer questions, and I do the same thing with my students, and those who have chosen me to answer their questions. Um, I don't have any formal study program, and any of that. I just pretty much answer questions and lead people in the directions to where they need to go. I mean, um, I think that's more natural than um, in-depth curriculums. No, don't get me wrong. I'm actually a student of the Temple of Witchcraft Mystery School, and I this is the last month of Witchcraft 2, the Outer Temple of Witchcraft, which has been amazing. And even though with my 30 plus years of intense study and practice of witchcraft, I've learned so much, so and have had so many experiences. Now, my personal thoughts and opinions on why things work um, isn't as important to me as that it does work. Some of us need tools and set ritual to allow us to experience magical realities and influences in our lives. Some people don't need tools and supplies, and some people don't even really need outer guidance. I mean, that I'm try to make that first and foremost. Your experience, your fairy tale is the most important thing, because that's gnosis. That's knowing, irrespective of the common idea that for you to have certain experiences, you have to have A plus B equals C, that it has to be supported by academia or other groups, and stuff that's been written down for a long time, and that isn't necessarily true. um, when you're talking about a cultural context, I mean, granted, there's it's important to understand the science. Don't ignore history, archaeology, sociology, even. Those things that we learn about our ancestors and about the human psyche is very important, but don't make it the center of your experience. That if you didn't experience the Andedion in a certain way, and they didn't fit a certain pattern of fairy folklore, there's nothing wrong in expressing your truth, because that's where our original fairy folk tales came from. It wasn't just the passage on of um, pre-Christian, or even traditional cultural expressions of divinity. Um, your experience is your fairy tale, and many are the tales, Lynn, that have been passed down of certain things happening to certain people. And that's my goal, is to help open you up to experiencing your own fairy tale, to create your own alliances and allies with them unseen, just as I have learned and I have experienced. Um, there are certain rote ideas that I have adopted in my personal path. I am an oath taken fairy friend through the fairy traditionalism pathway. Um, and I make no qualms about it, but I want to make sure everyone understands that we are all following our own path, and that though we've been influenced by certain writings and things that have been, put down and out for us to experience and do ourselves, that we make sure that we never put anyone on a pedestal, that they are human beings just like we are. They have their flaws, their mistakes, and some of them can be very severe and, in my opinion, of a darker shade of gray. Um, and I mean that in the term that, there is no real moral absolutes, because they are constantly changing and adapting, but that there are certain things that are inherently wrong, and that these people may believe these certain things. Um, to each their own, to each their own boundaries in relationship. And that does also go for them unseen, because not all fairies are beneficial or supportive of the human species, and or the living itself. There's very predatory spirits out there, just as there's very predatory humans out there. And so take the person with a grain of salt, but take what works for you as the creme of the crop. And for me, it has been the practices of Robin Arson for quite a while now. There's a lot of stuff that, of course, I don't agree with, or I am constantly learning and adapting and changing my viewpoints because I'm not a static person. I don't know everything, but I love learning and I love expanding my understanding. And Robin's works have touched me on a deep level. Um, do I put him on a pedestal? Of course not, because everything should be in right relationship. I was raised in a culture where, heavens forbid, you believe anything other than a certain brand of Christianity. And so I was very much involved in very fundamentalist organizations. Even though I moonlighted as a witch, I was very much indoctrinated at the same time. It's like I could flip a switch and there was two um, people. And I associate that re-Christianization I went through um, as a separate, under a separate name. And that is my dead name, which I hate the fact that I still have to use. People know me um, as that name, and it doesn't really vibe with me anymore. That person no longer exists. Um, Now, does that mean I um, shouldn't be held accountable for the things that I did or the way I believed? No, I'm still accountable for the consequences, the fated consequences of those actions, thoughts, words, and deeds. And so that is where Ruan steps in. That is the self of me that is witchy, that is othered. And when I embraced that name, um, I did a lot of study on the name, the history of the etymology, the associated um, plant, because ruin, if you anglicize it, is rowan. And so I work with, I got a beautiful, beautiful staff that I was gifted of rowan from um, I bel a part of my homeland, my ancestral homeland of Gimeru. And so I got to know the spirit of Rowan, um, and Rowan has taught me what Ruan is. And so when I took my oath of belonging and unseen allies um, through sorcerous ritual conveyed upon me a new name, and that is a very big concept that is in a lot of religious practices. And so I people should respect what they want to be called. And I personally don't sit there and force it, but that dead name is dead to me. The things that the way that person believed and lived is alien to me now. And so my time is Ruan. I give offerings as payment for the harm I've caused. I give that payment to the unseen. Um, I do my best to atone to those I've wronged. And, that's the focus of my personal practice. Some people like to focus on, the changing of the seasons. And I'd like to actually start doing that with, maybe some local friends. Um, But yeah, I really don't have much in the way to say. I just kind of here to hold space. If people are interested in um, asking questions, there's currently no one here viewing, and so I'm just kind of chilling, chilling like a villain, and yeah, I'm just here. I've been reading um, a lot of books. Usually before I go to work, I sit and read, and I've been reading the preeminent book that's on the market right now. And of course, if I show the screen, it's not going to show what it is. But I've been waiting for this book, I think, forever. Um, because though I identify with my Gimrick ancestry, I have never set foot on the motherland. It has been a couple hundred years since that branch of my family emigrated and came over here to America. And so I don't have a really direct connection beyond my love of things, Brythonic, Mabinogi, and Welsh witchcraft. Um, I was involved briefly with um, the Wiccan tradition of another controversial figure, and that person is the Ruan of the Church of Dúnaín Min and Teg, the that Welsh American tradition. Um, it's what guided my understanding, irrespective of the stuff that I was told by family member about our ancestry. And like I always say, um, it's really not important in the sense of just because I was told something about my family that's um, kind of far fetched, though genealogy and stuff work I've done hints that it might be true. But I come from a long line of magic people, and so that's really shaped me growing up. Now, like I said, whether it was true or not, it's hard to tell. Because the person who taught me, about our family is no longer here in the breathing world. Um, it's possible that he made it up or, kind of made it up as he went along. But he evidently was a magister of a coven of the traditional witchcraft branch, not necessarily Wicca, though, as any witch knows, you use what works. Um, so he also seemed to have moonlighted as a witch or whatever, and so I sought out, hearing the um the ancestors, my ancestors, um, that are mentioned in history as being connected to bardry and um, have a line to the gods of those of the Welsh people. And so I was seeking anything and everything I could learn about anything Welsh. And so the first tradition that I came across was the Church of Y Dôníaíd. Very controversial leaders in that, and there was a split and whatever. Um, but it shaped me. I've personally incorporated a lot of ideas from Ya Plant Bran, another a um, traditional witchcraft branch. I don't claim any authorship for any of that, and that's where I got a lot of my own practice as well, um, because we're always learning from other people. And then this book showed up. And if anyone's been on TikTok and YouTube and stuff, you know who this person is. Um, if you really look online, it's been all over the place, and that is Mara Starling's book, Welsh Witchcraft, A Guide to the Spirits, Lore, and Magic of Wales. And honestly, I'm so glad to see this, because I've said for a long time, I felt for a long time that the world needed a Welsh witchcraft that was not cobbled together um, by someone who's speaks the language, by someone who lives in the sacred lands that those stories talk about. My own ancestry, because I have no personal experience of being there. I don't. I've had my own experiences with the various entities, the various spirits of said ancestry, but getting it from someone who's walked those sacred shores and the places like Bedos Code, um, the seat of Arthur, Stonehenge, um, Preseli uh, and I also have my own Preseli Bluestone, and it helps connect me as well. But I've been waiting for Mara Starling's book for a long time, and I've already gotten um, about 50% in. I'm not going to do a complete review, but I can say that I like Mara's style. I really like Mara's style, and it confirms a lot of things that I was taught. It confirms a lot of things that I've kind of came to my own conclusions, and it just shows that there is a I don't know how to put it. There's a connection that's made when a certain amount of people hold a certain type of attraction out there, and that is and has been, I think, a search for a truly Welsh witchcraft, and Mar's done an amazing job so far, and I like it. But yeah, that's basically what I've been doing. Revamping websites, and yeah, since there seems to be no one here, and I don't really have anything planned, I just wanted to get myself in the habit of being back here Fridays at a specific time to build that oomph, because this winter time with everything that was going on, I've been so dead that I haven't done videos. I've just been sabbatical. I've taken a sabbatical and stepped back from a lot of things, and a lot of it has to do with my bipolar disorder. Um, I've have gone manic. I've have gone depressive. Um, I haven't been really focusing on my meds. I just been pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing just to do what I have to do, and then I'm just so exhausted that I just sit around and um, TikTok, learning, reading, um, spending time by myself, and I think it's because I've gotten so connected to the cycle of the seasons through my practice of what I'm learning in the Temple of Witchcraft. And I think as I'm going into springtime, that maybe my work and stuff should only be like seasonal or something because um, it's important to take care of one's mental health. It's in, it's it's important to take care of oneself because if you don't have respect for yourself, it's hard to it's hard. It's not impossible. And some people have to do it this way, but it makes it difficult to build a healthy relationship with others. And that includes those in the other world, our unseen allies, friends, and sometimes enemies will sense that and you'll get sick. It let me just say that where where like Wicca and stuff like that views things in a certain way, a certain paradigm, you know, bring in the law of attraction and, trying to quantify why these things work, what is causing these things to happen. I view more of it's an interaction between the seen world and the unseen. There's personhood behind just existence. And in order to gain allies, just like gaining friends, it's important that, you respect their boundaries, they respect your boundaries, and that you're in a healthy place. And because those that love and care for you want you in that healthy place. And I think sometimes we get sidetracked. And I hope that by doing these videos again, by offering my services, um, and I say services because I am a doing hispus. I am a conjurer, and I do accept coin for it. And that's never ended. I just got burnt out, and just dealing with life, and that's okay. And I want people to understand that it's okay to feel that way. It's okay to experience that. Um, there is no moral imperative to be and act and do a certain way within a healthy relationship and boundary setting way. And I just, I don't know. But, anyways, I'm going to end the video here. Um, if you have any questions, thoughts, concerns, want to help support my work, um, you can go to my website. I have not touched it in forever. Like I said, I've been on sabbatical. But you can go to ruandeheydon.com. I've got links and, that I'm hoping to have the energy to, add content. Um, I do a lot of my stuff now that I'm getting back in gear and stuff on my Patreon account at patreon.com/ruandeheydon. Um, like I said, this is Fayerie Fridays with Ruan. I am a Fayerie Traditionalist, member of the Cylgh An Carow Gwyn, and am a oath-taken Fayerie friend. I hold a Bachelor's of Science in Psychology. I am a hopefully at the end of this month, hopefully I will pass, my tests and get all my homework in, and I will be initiated into the second degree of the Temple of Witchcraft Mystery School, the Outer Temple. And I've decided, if things work out well, I will go and pursue Witchcraft 3. And that is based off of Christopher Penzak's book, The Shamanic Temple of Witchcraft, and which fits because my personal worldview is animistic. I work with spirits as it is, and I hope to learn new ways of connecting with the gods, the goddesses, the mighty dead, um, the spirits of the land, and maybe pass on wisdoms that I've learned from it. Because my end goal, my dream, is to be supported in my dream of being a professional witch. Um, I do tarot readings, and hopefully I'll be able to take on Zoom clients, depending on how things go. And I just want to make sure that all my friends who do have witchy businesses knows. I just did my taxes and I probably screwed up, um, because I did it while manic. So I'll probably be audited myself. Because of the situation we got in, I had to spend all the money I received from business, my Patreon and stuff like that, that was saved for taxes, to save my home, um, provide stuff for my family. And so I um, probably did it wrong, and I'm probably going to be audited, and I probably owe a lot of money, um, because I didn't plan ahead. I was not very. Um, Usually, I pay my taxes on everything, and the money I held aside to do that gone because of the weather issues. I I try to be a man of integrity. I try to speak nothing but truth. Um, and I've said before that I do pay my taxes, and I feel really bad that this year I probably botched it. I didn't, because my tax money that I get back, I don't get because I have student loans. I still have back child support. Um, I've got I've got debts. I've got still have financial obligations to the victims of my crime, and I never hide anything. I am one of those rare Scorpios that has learned that in order to be authentic, you cannot hide from your weaknesses and the experiences of your life. To be authentic, to be true, is not to run from your problems, your mistakes, and not be ashamed of it if you've done your best to make amends. And so that's why I also try really hard not to have anger, but to have kisoleth, to have a peace that I did my best with what I've been given in situations to atone for wrongs. And of course, that's irrespective of any spiritual pathways. I mean, I do offerings, of course, to them and unseen that I may have slighted. I do make amends the best I can to, the people I have slighted and cause harm to. I make sure to give offerings on behalf of the spirits of, animals and creatures that have died that I may live, or by my own actions. And I try to have the same kind of relationship with each and every person I come across. And so that's why I'm open to always answering questions. Um, if you have a question or a burning desire or need, um, like I said, I do my spiritual coaching as part of my tarot readings. I use the tarot and various tools to kind of guide um, how I can help you help yourself. Um, Seems most people come to me because they're going through a trying time. My goal, my job with all the wisdom and knowledge I've learned is to help you help yourself. And so if you would like a tarot reading, just reach out to me. Um, I get most of my clients from Facebook. I don't do much in the way of TikTok and stuff because that's just too much time consuming, energy consuming to do videos and stuff like that. Like, I'm always going to be camera shy. Yeah. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and cut it off here, and I hope to see you next week for another episode of Fayerie Fridays with Ruan de Heydon, Fayerie Traditionalist and member of the Cylgh An Carow Gwyn. May you never hunger, may you never thirst, and may the good neighbors always be with you. Blessed be.